Lovers Quarrel. It's a long, sustained quarrel.
What's going on, world?
Hey, everybody.
It's your guy, TJ, Mr. New Cool.
And it's your girl, Dani, your terribly tired tamarin. Would you like to know what a tamarin is?
Yeah, I'm going to ask for the people, but you sent me something. But go ahead.
Yes. The tamarin is a squirrel-sized New World monkey from the family of Callitrichidae in the genus Saguinus. I'm probably mispronouncing it. But basically, they are little monkeys. And they look kind of funny and kind of cute. So here's tamarins for anyone who watches the clips. I'll try to make sure we do a snippet from this segment so that way you guys can be a part of the moment.
What would we do without knowing what a tamarin looks like?
Whatever. That might be a pop quiz question for somebody one day and they win $1 million and it's because of me. I was going to say me and you, just me.
Yeah.
But welcome to another episode.
Okay, our flashlight is doing something weird.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still...
Okay. Welcome to another episode of Lovers Quarrel.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm so distracted.
It's like a strobe light.
I know. It's like... All right. So, pardon the interruption. Welcome to... It's doing it again. Oh, gosh. See, this is what happens. We try to be like, bring out video and visuals of us recording, and then this happens. So let's, hopefully, third time's a charm.
Hopefully.
Welcome to another episode of Lovers Quarrel. We are happy you're here. Of course, if this is your first time listening, welcome. If this is your second time listening, welcome back. And this is your third or more time joining us. You are family, or as TJ would like to call you,
You're a lover.
And
You my lover.
Okay, he for everybody.
I'm not gonna say that. Listen.
How have you been?
I've been good. And yourself?
I'm good. I am tired, but I am good. Like,
I mean,
I chilled.
That's like second nature. Like,
okay, so I know you're just being like funny or whatever, but would you say on a day like today, it makes sense why I might be a little tired?
Sure, if it helps you.
Why do you think it makes sense for me to say I'm a little tired?
Because you were up getting the house ready, so that's why you're gonna say it. But I'm just saying, even if you didn't get the house ready, you would have been tired regardless. You're always tired.
I mean, I feel as though
like your superhero powers is tiredness.
That's not my superhero power.
It is.
It's not. I feel as though like yesterday I definitely did more of like
your kryptonite would be
chill.
a bed, like a place where someone can sleep is your kryptonite. You just put it in front of you and it's like.
And so, what would your kryptonite be?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far yet.
Oh, you always worried about me. Yet you got nothing for yourself. Oh, okay. So
anyway.
I am a bit tired. I'm good. I took today and took down the Christmas trees, put the decorations up. It was wash day as far as hair for me and Tatum. It was, grocery list. The only thing that didn't make it was the grocery store, but at least the list is done. We actually planned out what we're going to eat this week, so that's going to be good.
My idea.
Okay.
Just saying, you don't always give me my props, so.
Because you're always the idea man when it comes to this type of stuff, and then I'm usually like the executor of said idea.
Okay. I think. Well, go ahead.
So anyway, but no, I guess overall I'm good. I feel like the weekend went by way too quick. I'm definitely still. I think I'm also a little bit more tired because this is our first weekend after returning to work after the holiday break. So it's like, damn, last weekend I was off the whole week prior, so I was a little bit more well rested. This is just I'm going into it and it's back to work, back to the grind. So for what it's worth, I'm tired, but I'm good. And a lot has happened in the world since we last joined each other.
Facts.
That's part of my elevator. So do you want to just go straight into that?
We got to see white people be white people.
Word. All right, so I'll start things off. Are you going up at all?
I'm staying positive this week. So.
Okay, I'll go first because I'm a little bit of both.
All right.
So in our elevator, going down, and yeah, like for what it's worth, this past week will live in infamy. Specifically,
is that your down?
Part of it, yeah.
All right, I just go ahead.
And unless you've been living under a rock, you saw that there was an attempted, there was an insurrection, attempted sedition, attempted coup, all those great words that happened on Wednesday as they tried to certify the electoral votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as the next president and vice president of the United States. These, paper-colored motherfuckers came and stormed
Paper-colored
because they're white.
Just say white.
Because no, I want to disparage them.
Caucasian. There you go.
Caucasian is actually, I read, is actually not a term that it's not like an accurate term. It makes more sense to just call them white people. Because like they hail from the Caucasus Mountains. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that like it's not true. So, but I'm not 100%. Yeah. So basically, the whites
the terrorists.
The terrorists, the cults, the insurrectionists, all that stuff.
That's part of my up too.
They stormed the Capitol building. They had, senators and congressmen and women from the left and the right holed up in rooms, barricaded in. They broke shit up. Apparently somebody put shit on the walls. They done got one of the domestic terrorists. She got shot in the neck and died. Oh well.
Yeah.
And but then they also, the blue lives that matter so much to them, those same people bludgeoned a cop to death with a fire extinguisher, which is unfortunate for him. Of course, so rest in peace to that gentleman. And then, you came back around and it was like, and even Joe Biden was like, this is not who we are. And it's like, hold up. Yes, the fuck it is. It's who we are, and it's not we, me, you, and other black people, because we've been telling y'all it's white people and people who want to act like it's like everybody could be on some kumbaya shit or whatever. It's not. That's not how it is. This is America, like Childish Gambino says, like everyone else. This is who we are.
I don't understand why people are surprised and shocked. Like, they showed us who they were when they were so flabbergasted that Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee because of black people and like having injustices, and people try to make it like him taking a knee during the national anthem was like the worst thing you can possibly do. But we're talking about the same people who just stormed
a federal building in the nation's capital, and damn sure it probably ain't done because.
Well, listen, I mean, they already said it wasn't. Well, we already knew that because Donald Trump told them to stand back and yeah, whatever he said. He pretty much told them just be ready.
Yeah.
And be on call.
And so
I'm not surprised. I'm glad it happened. That's part of my up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that everyone gets to see, and y'all get to see, because everyone wanna, like, and it's crazy because they're calling them protesters and stuff like that. I've never seen a protest where Black Lives Matter or us, black people protesting something and we go and take over a building.
Oh, yeah. We would have never even been allowed to be that close to the building.
Well, they would have already had security and everything.
Oh, the armed National Guard, all of that would have been. And it's just like, this is, it was like,
it's a double standard.
This is, of course, but this is the proof that this shit, I mean, obviously, the president of the United States is the one who sicked his little fucking miscreant, little evil troll cult members.
Well, him and his whole team, Giuliani was there exciting them and all that.
He sicked them on them. So it's like, it's just evidence of like what we already knew, which is like this shit goes all the way to the top. So it's like, yeah, they didn't call the take the offers for more help. Yeah, they didn't put the gates far back like they did when it was a Black Lives Matter protest. Yeah, they didn't. The cops just let them walk by. They were understaffed or whatever. It's all unsurprising. Is it what I felt was like, were the images still like jarring to see? Sure. But was it surprising?
Was it jarring because you thought you would never see something like that, or?
I guess it was still like, I was unsurprised at the entire sequence of events. That didn't surprise me. But it was still like, wow. these motherfuckers just.
I believe it.
They just out here. They just doing whatever. So like, just kind of still watching it unfold was just kind of like, wow.
What's the difference between them and when we went for, and when we had the Civil War?
They were probably more organized back then. Shit.
But no,
nothing.
What I'm trying to say is that the Civil War had a lot to do with like ending racism and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, slavery. Sorry, yes, ending slavery and stuff like that. And these people was like, fuck that. Those are our slaves. That's our property. We're fighting for it.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't want to do the work themselves.
They lost. And then for many years in the South, it was okay that you can have the Confederate flag. Like, that's a loser's flag. Like, they were terrorists.
I get it.
Who went against America. That's the most unpatriotic thing.
Mm-hmm. But you can do.
But we're saying it's patriotic to fly a Confederate flag. Like, that's the loser's flag.
Yeah.
So you can't call it America. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just bringing the examples of the differences of like, y'all don't love America.
You love white supremacy.
Y'all love white supremacy, exactly.
But white supremacy in America, I mean, they
kind of go hand in hand.
They hand in hand. Like the of course, I love our people, which is like we gonna find a way to make jokes and laugh about anything. And like one thing I kept seeing was they were like, people were saying like, how could they let this happen, or where were the police, or where were these people? And somebody responded back and it was like, you ever see Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus in the same room? No. Why? Because they one in the fucking same. Mm-hmm. This shit was as American as apple pie. It was as American as baseball and all the things in between. And it's unsurprising. It was still for me like kind of like, I don't even want to call it disbelief, but it was just kind of like, damn. I was like, they really just like went ahead and did it. And it's like, and then the other part that's unsurprising is that I wasn't shocked. It's just the imagery was a little bit like shocking to me. No. But
what did Malcolm X say? The chickens
coming home to roost. And that touche.
Listen.
And it's just like, and it's just ill because it's like you watched it happen, and then these same motherfuckers like and the thing about it is like the privilege and the white privilege and the white supremacy runs so deep that you know good and well that those people that were storming in there, and then I know for a fact that they didn't show like the things that we saw in real time. There were worse things happening. Like we didn't see the video footage of that man getting killed, the cop getting killed, but I'm sure somebody has that documented. But point being is like, you got Republican senators and congressmen who still voted to try and overturn the election after the fact, knowing good and well, had those people gotten their hands on them and gotten in the same rooms with them, they would have fucked them up or killed them or worse. People had zip ties, so you were planning to take your hostages. So it's just like, yo,
should have happened.
That's but it's wild to me. It's wild. It's unsurprising, but it's still wild at the same time.
No. It definitely is. But I'm just saying, we need to see that the fact that nobody was up in arms, that he was separating families, and there were kids in fucking cages, and there are kids who don't know where their parents are because of whatever system they had was terrible. They were giving women hysterectomy. Like this whole thing has just showed me that a lot of Americans are individuals and they think about themselves and they're capitalistic, and that's the most important thing. Because what Donald Trump did, the human nature, everyone has the opportunity to be parents, right? That's for argument's sake. For argument's sake, everyone can be a parent. Yeah. So even if you don't have kids, to have to see that little kids are in cages, if that doesn't tug at your heartstrings, that doesn't tug at like, fuck the politics. We're human beings first. That's a human. That is a human child who's put in a fucking cage.
But you know, babe, the problem with that is that would require for that to pull something at you, it would require people to see you as human to begin with.
You're right.
And that's the problem, is that when these white motherfuckers that aren't allies and aren't trying to fight alongside us,
they don't see black people, they don't see Spanish people, they don't see people who are not white as anything other than what they are,
as subhuman, as less than human.
And that's the bigger issue. So like I said, let this shit burn. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I will say, like, I am nervous about
what?
What's to come, because we know that this isn't the end, and this base of his is not going away. Like, it's not like he's just because he himself won't take ownership and won't truly concede and won't be a leader, because he's just he just really wants to be a cult leader. At this point, I see no difference between him and Hitler. I see no difference between him and like a Jim Jones and like Jonestown and all that stuff like that.
Hitler was probably nicer.
And it's just a simple thing of like, these insurrections and these attempted coups are going to keep happening. They're going to go. They were at the Capitol House in Kentucky and stand out there, calling for Mitch McConnell's ass, because now Mitch McConnell, and that's another thing too. These fucking Republicans who decided in the 11th hour and 59th minute to show a backbone, quote unquote, but that's not even a backbone. You were jumping ship.
Instagram did that, Twitter did
all
that.
Of them, the social media, everybody, because nobody wants to be culpable. Nobody wants to be criminally
But you were
responsible.
culpable before that.
Yeah, but now it got to violence. No. Now it impacted me directly.
No.
And now I feel
Well, you made this.
They made this monster.
Yeah, like y'all allowed it,
and they're still doing it. Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, they're just trying to get his base.
Well, I don't even care about Ted Cruz. Like, didn't Trump talk about his wife?
He called her ugly.
Yeah,
he been sucking his dick since.
I have no respect for him. Fuck him.
He is a whole spine.
Like,
and they also we gotta heal and move on. I don't move on with none of these motherfuckers.
Listen, I understand there's political games and right, wrong is wrong, and my side versus your side. But there are certain things that I feel like, there should be certain codes. Kids should always be safe. Mm-hmm. Some will say women should be safe. There's certain things that should be safe. And what Donald Trump has showed with his base is that it's not safe. He allowed the racists to feel comfortable enough to feel like they don't have to hide their racism no more. Mm-hmm. The fact that we know that there's 74 million people plus who's still racist in this world, we still need to be careful.
Absolutely. Or self-hating.
Well, yeah. I mean, whatever you call it. I'm more than anything. I'm just saying we need to keep our head on the swivel. We need to again, what Stacey Abrams have done, the way she mobilized. We need to keep our foot on people's necks. Yeah, politically.
Georgia is the blueprint of how we need to
politically
get all these other groups together.
Politically, we need to be looking and saying, wait. If we come together as a whole, they can't stop us. They love our culture. They love our mind. They love everything about black people except for being black.
Of course.
But if they could take the essence of the blackness without being black, they would. Of course. My thing is that because we know that we have that power and we've seen it time and time again, like, we need to start demanding more. We're not shopping with you no more. We're not purchasing from you. We're going to stay within our own unless y'all are going to include us. But you're not going to steal our style and steal everything about us for your profit. Mm-hmm.
And that actually is, I guess, a good segue into my up, which is that the day before that you had the Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff.
My good frat brother.
Yes. Shout out to the D9.
Look at the alphas,
And so becoming the first black senator in the state of Georgia. And then I don't know if it was like the whole South, but definitely from the state of Georgia. Then you have John Ossoff, who is the first Jewish senator from the state of Georgia. Or I don't know if it's the Jewish senator, period. It's definitely him being Jewish is like a first in some respect. And he's now the youngest because he's the same age as us. He's 33. Well, you'll be 33 this year. And so...
so he's a year older than me.
No. Possibly. But anyway, point being is that history was made and if you're political, apolitical, whatever, like you can't still, I feel like you have to still acknowledge the history that was made as far as the work that the grassroots organizers in Georgia did in order to flip that state from the time that, and I mean, Stacey Abrams is one, but there's also Latasha Brown. There's several, there's multiple, basically black women, of course, saved the day again. But they registered several 100,000 people between 2018 and 2020 in order to get ready for the 2020 election. And then I was listening to one of my political podcasts earlier today, and they between November and January were able to register maybe like at least another like 175,000 people, because you had what it was too, and then most of them were black people and most of them were under 35 and under, because then you had a whole other population of people who turned 18 between November and January. And so,
and we just have to continue mobilizing.
It shows that, listen,
like,
we can do this.
The next set of election is in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do is learn from our past mistakes
and get all of them
and make sure that we are ready. In 2 years, that's the primaries, right?
In 2 years will be midterm elections.
Midterms.
So that's like more senators and more congressmen.
No, I get that. But I'm just saying, we have to be the ones talking about this. And we have to let them know, right? When Barack won, everyone thought we were good. And that's why no one went out to the midterm election.
And then he lost the Congress.
That's when he lost Congress. And then that's when he couldn't vote for anything. Like anything that he wanted to get done couldn't get done because they were going against him just because he was a Democrat.
Yeah. But it's
like we have to understand how it all works for it to make sense.
Yeah, we need to continue to mobilize. We need to continue to be on the boots on the ground, work together, because, you know, this system was never meant for us. This system is broken, and many days I don't even want to participate in this bullshit. But it's kind of like I feel as though while I can be working and kind of fighting the good fight and pumping my fist for all of the injustices for my people, and then at the same time, even though I know that this is a political system that never wants to see us that was built off the backs of slaves and is steeped in white supremacy and white nationalism, it's kind of like work the system, work within it, and then also fight against it at the same time. And I think that Georgia was an example of how you work within the system and you mobilize motherfuckers. They are so mad that cities like Detroit and Philly and Atlanta are the things that won us, turn everything back to the Democrats.
Listen,
and that was black people.
It showed that black people run stuff.
This is true.
Period. No matter what they put in front of us, no matter what they give us, no matter how many steps they try to stop us, we run shit. So at the end of the day, as long as we continue doing what we're supposed to do, we gotta be knowledgeable about how things work and understand that, right? Mm-hmm. I know that years ago they used to be like, if you're a felon, you can't vote, and then that's been demythed. Is that the right word, or demystified? Or
it's been debunked, but they're federal. Like I think if you're like convicted of like a federal crime or felony, it's a felony, then you can't. But then some states overturned it. I think Florida voted like, so now you can vote.
What I'm saying is that we have to understand that, and it's very important for you to learn your local policies.
Yep.
Right, because there could be something that may affect your state that if you don't vote for it, you can't make the change, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has to understand, like, voting is very important, you know, and just because you think that your voice your voice matters, and that's what this whole election has showed us. Our voices matter.
Yeah.
We just have to be meaningful and purposeful in what we're trying to get accomplished.
And consistent. We have to show up and 100%,
show out. Yeah.
I would also say too, like, we need to make sure that we keep the same energy, that we hold up and make sure that we don't let up on that when it comes, like you said, to midterms, to the next presidential election.
They got 4 years. Biden and Harris, they have 4 years. You hold their feet to the fucking fire.
Yeah.
Period. That's it. It's nothing wrong with that. But also, what I will say is we have to be realistic with what we want. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that sometimes we are that way. We voted for a black president, and then we expected him to just be a black president. No, he's the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Biden and Harris are the president of the United States. So there may be stuff that benefit black people more than others, but don't think that, again, they're presidents for everybody. They're not presidents just for us.
Yeah.
So you got to also mind your expectations of what you're expecting.
I mean, it's not gonna be overnight or anything else like that. I know this much. When they talk about like, oh, we need to when they talk about reaching across the aisle, people need to be bipartisan, or we need to, you know, their feelings are hurt, they feel bad, and I don't give a fuck if you voted for that piece of shit. I have nothing for you. It's fuck you for life, because you, and I've said this on this show multiple times, you voted for hatred, you voted for racism, you voted for misogyny, you voted for homophobia, transphobia, you voted for sexism, you voted for sex abuse, you voted for rape, you voted for, racism. You voted for every ism and negative thing in here. You voted for fascism. You voted for all of that. You voted against everything that impacts me, both, politically, financially, and personally, right? Like, you voted against my life, the life of my husband, the life of my child, and my loved ones. So, and I don't give a fuck what your reasoning is, from everything from you're worried about economic anxiety, to you're racist, to you think that he's a straight shooter, or you're down some fucking stupid rabbit hole on some stupid conspiracy theory bullshit. I don't give a fuck about what your reasoning is. Don't fucking talk to me, because from now until the day I die, I have nothing for you. And that's because, what I would say is, the only thing I'll say is that if there is proof and evidence that you've come back, maybe, but even then, nah, fuck you.
I mean, I think it's still varied. I'm not going to shit on people for what they've chosen, but it does tell me a lot about you. Again, if you voted for him, no matter what the reason, yeah, it could have been beneficial for you financially, but that's not a good enough reason. And that just tells me that you're a person that, if the price is right, you're selling your soul. I'm
comfortable shitting on those people who voted for him, because I just feel like you are racist, stupid, or all of the above.
When I was younger, it would have probably been like, oh, I'm voting for whomever because they're Democratic. But where I'm at right now, I'm going to vote for whoever's going to be the best political party. And again, if it's Republican, then I'm going to vote Republican. But if it makes sense, I'm not going to just vote for whomever just to vote for whomever.
There are people who are they're Republicans who call themselves like never Trumpers. Like, I have my godfather is Republican, but he abhors Donald Trump and everything that this has happened and stands for. So he didn't vote for him back then. He didn't vote for him now, because he's like, yeah, he might have been. I'm presuming like maybe he was Republican, like, this is for a lifelong one. So like, because he was more like fiscally conservative or whatever reasons he might have. Mm-hmm. But when they let Trump into the fold, they opened up a can of worms, and they can't get that shit back in. Yeah. And so
once they allowed him to do what he's been doing, like, to me, I think it's trash that now y'all are saying something. Like, now y'all are against him. Like, because y'all know he's not coming back, now y'all have balls.
Or because your life was in danger. Now you want to take a stand.
No, fuck that.
Exactly. We knew what it was, and that's why this is America. And it's I don't want to say it even depressing. It's like, matter of fact, like, it's whack, but it's something that
I think it's important we know for you to know, because it's better for you to know. And again, I am with you. Like, if you fuck with Trump, I'm gonna look at you a little side eye. That's it. Like, I would not trust you. I would not trust to be around you
at all.
Like,
you the ops.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
You know what I mean? Like,
and actually, I'm not.
There's other Republicans. Like I said, George Bush. I would vote for George Bush in a heartbeat.
That's how far we've come.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, again, a couple of years ago, we were saying George Bush don't like black people, and now in comparison,
he's coming up like roses.
I know Bush is like, yes, thank God Trump came, mm-hmm. because they hated me, but they hate him. Like, the fact that he's like,
people he wasn't so bad.
Yeah, exactly. People got to be like, yeah, you know what? I apologize, mm-hmm. Bush, you weren't that bad.
Yeah, and he was pretty bad. Like, he was, and it was like, but you think it was like he was bad at his job. He wasn't a totally bad human being. I think that's what it also was a thing too.
I mean, I don't really know what policies he had or whatever it was during his policy. I just know that he's Republican and some of his views are like he's like more conservative and stuff like that.
I think the big thing was after like post 9/11.
But he wasn't. Well, post 9/11, I think saved him.
Well, see, post 9/11 was part of the issue because they waged war against the wrong country. Okay. And so they he always came across as like a fool. Like he was like he was just stupid. And so, but then he made stupid decisions. And then there was, there were other things, and I guess it's just that. But like Trump
is going to go down as the worst
president in U.S. history
ever.
I
would honestly. I mean, they made a meme about it, but I'm really excited. Like, I want to see how they talk about the 2020 year. Like, I want to talk about. I would love to see how McGraw-Hill or whomever the textbooks talk about Donald Trump's presidency.
Yeah, I have a lot. I'm very curious about that, and especially because like Tatum's about to become school age, so this is the stuff that she's going to learn about by the time she's like in high school, middle school, high school.
No, I get that, and I'm going to be the parent that tells Tatum, listen.
What are they talking about in history?
I'm going to teach you this shit, and at the end of the day, if you feel confident, you have every right to question your teacher, respectfully,
of course.
But
be like,
if they say something that you don't think is, you could question their ass.
Yeah,
and that'll be one of the things that I'm willing to fight for my child.
Yeah. Oh, I'm already geared up for parent teacher night for our nephew because his history teacher was saying some like concerning things, and so I'm prepared to like jump on that Zoom or whatever platform and be like, yeah, I've got some questions about some of this, like, you're saying that they were just, it was fear mongering or it was Antifa or whatever else. Like, you got me like fucked up because of course he is a old white man and you're teaching black and brown kids in Baltimore history, and of course if you come on the next day after an attempted coup, like as a history teacher, that's a conversation that should be had. That's pertinent to history. So if you aren't capable of speaking the truth or presenting just the facts and allowing them to kind of come to their own conclusion, then I have a problem with that. So can't wait till parent teacher conferences too, especially like coming from as an educator. Don't fuck with me. But I feel like that was like a joint.
Do you have yours? Because that wasn't mine.
I know.
That was a part of mine.
My
Are you finished?
Yes, I am officially done.
So my other up is my friend, my fellow Towson alum, CJ, is doing his thing with the graphics. He self-taught himself how to do like VR, virtual reality stuff, and he's been a beast. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my guy. He's a motion designer for Tidal, but he self-taught himself virtual reality, and he's a beast with it. So listen, go follow him. His handle on IG is ceej.php. And yeah, like, he also inspired my relationship tip for the week. So when we get to that part, but I just wanted to give him a shout out. I just think it's dope to kind of just see people do their own thing, right? And be creative and, because so many of us are afraid to do things or afraid of failing, but he literally taught himself, mastered it enough that he was able to get a job at Tidal and move to New York, and he's living his life. And it makes me smile. And every time I see him post something new or any new projects he's doing, I'm like, that's inspiring, right? Because at the end of the day, he self-taught himself that way. So if he could self-teach himself how to do it, anybody can self-teach himself how to do it and kind of get to the same level. It's how I look at it. Yeah. Like, that's realistic. It's not like he picked up a basketball one day and now he's an NBA or something like that.
Yeah, but that's important. Like it's a testimony of, even if it's not, you weren't formally trained in something, we do, one of the few bright spots that sometimes feels like is our present day is that you can really, like, information is just right at your fingertips. Is for most people, it's at your reach. It's in arm's reach. So it's just a matter about the commitment and the time that you have.
That's it.
And that's it. And it's and it can really turn into something else. And it's a beautiful thing when it really works out.
I think the biggest thing is we just can't be afraid of trying things. And failure, don't look at failure, but look at it as how you progress in life, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at when you fail as this is an opportunity for me to grow from that failure, I feel like it'll be easier, right? Because we've been trained that if you fail or you get an F or whatever, the world's the end, and it's not. Because, in the university world, you get an F, you can take that class over, and now if you get a higher grade, that F replaces. Mm-hmm. So using that, at the end of the day, we could try things, we could fail at it, and then come back and make it better, and now it's a success. We have to be able to be okay. We have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
We have to be uncomfortable. We have to be comfortable with not getting it right the first time.
That too.
That's a lesson that I've had to learn the hard way sometimes, and have struggled with because, I'm like most people. I'm probably like high functioning anxiety, right? One symptom is perfectionism, and it's not easy, but it is doable. But thank you.
Yeah, so shout out to my guy CJ, man. Like I said, I want to give him his roses while he's still alive to be able to do it. And every chance that I get to hype him up, I do.
Dope.
Like I said, I'm proud of him. And I love to see his growth. I love to see that he's like succeeding, and it's just like, again, he self-taught himself. So for me, that's inspiring. Mm-hmm. Me seeing these athletes or rappers, that's not inspiring because y'all have a talent. If I was talented as well, then maybe I can relate more, but I'm not in that field. But seeing that somebody was able to figure out a way to do something, and then they put their own touch into it and carve out their own career is dope. So shout out to you, CJ. I'm proud of you, bro, and continue it, man. Continue being an inspiration for all youths and the youth, the older people, but just continue being an inspiration, bro.
Black excellence. Okay, well, with that said, it is now time for our relationship tip of the week. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first since they go hand in hand.
All right.
So I said date and be friends with people who motivate you. You shouldn't date or be friends with anybody that doesn't help you move forward. They can be your associate. I said they could be your associate or your fuck buddy, but shouldn't be someone you to build a future with. And I'm just thinking, part of that is also part of. So like again, CJ kind of helped with that, but I thought about my life as well. I'm able to be as successful as I am because I have a great partner. And I think that I think as you get older and you start realizing how life works, you need to be more purposeful in what you're looking for and in the things that you want. Some things should be non-negotiables, but I do think that having your partner is very important. I'm as successful as I am because of Dani. I'm able to be who I am because of Dani. So I would never take that away. And, this is me being vulnerable, right? Because, I think every man's going to be like, or every person's going to be like, I don't need that individual to make me be successful. And I don't need her, but I do need her, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't have needed you to be successful, but having you has allowed me to be successful.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, it's not like who you are and where you are in life was solely hinged upon our being together.
Yes,
but
exactly. But having you has been, like, being with you has showed me the importance of choosing the right partner. Choosing the right partner to be successful in life. Because, again, you need that person who's going to push you. You need that person who's going to motivate you. You need that person who's going to be able to make you feel like I could take on the world regardless, right? And sometimes you may not pick a partner for that. But you have to be honest and real and figure out what you are looking for and what you need, right? I needed a partner who can take care of the house. I needed a partner who can help me think differently. I needed someone who's going to be like, nah, a 7 is cool, but we want 10s. Like, shoot for higher. Like, I needed someone who's going to push me to be successful, as well as someone that I can kind of look at and see what she does and be like, oh, nah, If she's getting 10s, I need to get 10s too. Like, it's the healthy competition that a partner can do. But, you know, for me, I'm just saying, listen, you need to make sure that you have friends and relationships with people who can help you grow. And again, you can have friends who don't have any of that stuff, but maybe you don't call them friends. Maybe they are just associates. But
there are people in your life that are just solely for hanging out or having fun. And that's cool.
100%. But I'm just thinking that when you start calling people friends and family, they should be people who help your life.
They add to it.
Yes.
They don't take from it.
Exactly.
No, I get it. Well, thank you for that. And my relationship tip for this week is for any ships, romantic or friendships. And this is, again, based off of just some dialogue TJ and I had, I think earlier, late last week. And you have people in your life who it's like you have the same mind, right? You like the same things, you think the same way, you just move in the same direction as far as like how you go about things. That is not TJ and Dani. We work together, like we work well together. We are meant to be, like, this is my partner for life. But I'd be lying if I didn't. We'd both be lying if we didn't say that. Like, sometimes we have very different approaches to things. We have different responses to things. We have different tastes. We have different, like, from everything from, you know, what we want to eat or our relationships with food. We've talked about that on here. To even our, like, taste in music or TV and film. And saying that all to say is that, and this is a tip more so I'm giving to myself, is like, you want to sometimes make an effort, like a conscious effort to do the things that your partner likes sometimes, or work to find a common ground. So to give you a little bit of context, I have a tendency to I'm not a big fan of like hood movies, like the like Plug Loves and all that stuff like that. I'm not big on them.
Plug Love was fire.
But it was, I mean, it definitely was one of the best of the genre. But point being is that it's not something that I would like be like, ooh, this looks good. Let me watch this. That's something that TJ does. And it's always a joke because TJ and my sister love them. Me and my brother-in-law are always like, this is stupid. But it's definitely like, it's a difference of taste. But sometimes I like, and it's like almost like a joke too sometimes for me to like shit on it. But what I also feel though is that sometimes in not being in a space or not being in the mood to watch those things, we end up kind of missing moments where we could do something together, right? And while I don't always want it to be what I want, I don't always think that we just watch whatever I want to watch or whatever. We don't. We don't. You watch what you watch. I just get in my phone, and that's the thing. I don't like engage with whatever you're watching when that happens.
I'm more willing to watch the stuff that you want to watch, to be a team player.
So that's why I'm offering up as a tip, is like to also try to do that as well, because I think in this particular arena, I can stand to be a little bit more of a team player, and I know that, and do so like without cracking jokes or whatever, because I also don't.
Tell the camera.
Anyway.
Tell the camera.
You're not going to do this every episode when we do visuals.
Look at the camera and tell the camera that you were wrong.
As I was saying.
That's crazy.
Rock said stop interrupting me. So stop interrupting me.
Fuck Rock.
Don't say that. That's not nice. So I will make a bigger effort. So on a personal note, I'm going to make a greater effort to not sarcastically
look at the camera and
watch. It makes more sense for me to look at you, fool. So to not watch.
I'm going to be able to have it documented forever. But
I'm about to rescind the offer because you're being annoying.
Go ahead.
So to make a conscious effort to not to watch these things and not do so sarcastically. Now, if I like it, great. If I don't, then so be it. But it's a time for us to do that. And then when I say also find a common ground, TJ had made a suggestion for us to maybe do like our own little like couples book club with like each other. Like we read a book together. We haven't started it yet, but that's something else that we can do.
I'm afraid because I may pick a book that you may be like, oh no, this is a black book. I can't read.
No, I read black or / like hood books when I was in high school and stuff like that. So that was a little bit more my speed than the movies. But it's a point of just like sometimes we need to extend ourselves in order to like try to watch and enjoy the things that our partner likes to watch and enjoy. Now, TJ does a better job of watching the things that I like on occasion with like less pushback. I would like him to work on sometimes not being like as critical of it when you're watching it, or watching it with like intent. Like the last thing I was like super into was Lovecraft Country, and even though you watched it, like you weren't as like present with it.
Back to your trans.
But anyway,
you make everything transactional. I was watching it.
You're right, but I'm just saying, like,
at the end of the day,
I was just bringing that up.
No, I get that, but
this is about me trying to do better.
No, I get that, but I'm saying you have a tendency of doing things where it's like, if I do it, it's like you did it, but you didn't do it the way that I wanted you to do it, so it doesn't really count. And it's like I still did it.
It wasn't.
You was watching it. I watched it the way that I watch TV shows, but it wasn't the way that you wanted me to watch it. So now you're saying it doesn't count.
No,
so I watched the whole entire season, but because it wasn't the way that you wanted me to watch it, now there's a problem.
I don't think that it doesn't count. Let me be clear.
I don't think you have a tendency of doing that. Because the same thing when it was like, for us to have more sex, you were like, oh, you need to help me out. And then when I helped you out, you were like, well, you helped me out, but you didn't help me out. Well, you only helped me out because you wanted sex. But that's what you made it. You made it a transactional thing, so you can't have it both ways. Did I watch it is the question.
I understand that. I think that I think it's a good. I think what it is like it's appreciated. I would say that it is appreciated, and I think that like maybe over time as we continue to try and like participate in the things that the other person enjoys, but that we try to like build upon that and like not only just be present to watch it, but then like maybe try to like I said, like I would watch it, but like I wouldn't add, like I won't throw my sarcasm into it. I won't throw like this is stupid, this is these plot holes and all other stuff like that. Same way how I'm like I would add, so like maybe you're further ahead than me, like you're watching it, but then like the next natural event like with that is then to like truly engage with it versus just like
I try to engage the way that I engage, and that doesn't work. I have to engage with asking questions like now, like wait, what just happened? Whereas you was like, no, you want to watch it and then have a conversation.
Well, and in all fairness, Lovecraft Country is like a show that you can't like look away for a second. So I'm trying to like keep up, and then I can't necessarily answer questions at the same time. So
whatever.
But it has not. I'm not trying to be transactional. I'm not trying to like diminish what you've done.
You got it, Queen.
So that's something else, and that's just my tip. It's just like we try to find let's try to find a common ground. And even all these years later, sometimes we still got to find common ground, or sometimes we got to put our own preferences to the side and do the things that our partner likes because what they like should matter to us too. So. That's it. That's my relationship.
I mean, I could have told you that 12 years ago, but I got you. Good tip.
You are.
Good tip.
You're just so exhausting.
I guess.
This is you're why I'm always tired. Because you are exhausting.
You gotta take accountability, sis.
I am taking accountability.
You're tired because you're tired.
I'm tired because
it's in your DNA.
I'm tired.
I hope Tatum doesn't get tired. I hope she didn't get the tiredness from you. I'm tired, boss. I hope you don't have that.
You get...
If we were playing NBA 2K, your badge would be like sleeping. They'll have like a sleeping badge for you.
Your badge would be interrupting.
Woo!
Your badge would be being loud. Your badge...
Fire starter. Getting the team involved.
Y'all, TJ's loud in so many different ways and doesn't even realize it.
I mean, I am who I am. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Next segment.
Black History Fact for this week. I'm going first.
All right.
On the day that we're recording, which is January 10th.
You don't have to. All you have to do is just say.
Well, I'm giving the date because tomorrow's the 11th.
So it's going to be released on the 11th. Is your fact on the 11th or the 10th?
The 10th. That's why I specified.
All right. So just say.
Why are you telling me how to say what I gotta say?
My fault.
Interrupting again.
I was not interrupting. You weren't talking.
No, you interrupted. You didn't cut me off. There's a difference.
Yeah, I want to make this face. I want the camera to see. What are you talking about? To interrupt somebody means that you were talking. You weren't talking.
You were interrupting my time of the segment, but you weren't.
It.
You didn't cut off my words per se.
Just let me know when I can talk.
I will. So on January 10th, 1957, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, otherwise known as the SCLC, was founded in New Orleans, Louisiana, by Martin Luther King Jr., Ralph Abernathy, Joseph Lowry, Fred Shuttlesworth, and C.K. Steele. Dr. King was the founding president, Abernathy the president emeritus, and Representative Walter Fauntleroy, was a District of Columbia, was the chairman of the board of members. And so I thought that it was appropriate that, the My Black History Fact has something to do with like Southern Black alphas and other just but like Southern Black like political leaders coming together and forming something in order to I sound like I was from Baltimore right there to
Baltimore,
to move our people's progress forward. So I thought that was really appropriate. And that is my Black History Fact for this week.
So my fact is on January 11th, 1985, Reuben V. Anderson became the first black judge to be appointed to the Supreme Court for Mississippi.
Dope.
And I just thought that was important because, 1985 was right there. But, you just got to think how long Mississippi's been around. And the fact there's only... I don't know if there's any other ones that came after him, but the first one came in 1985. So... there may have been another one, or there may have not been, but the fact that that's it's not common that there's several black Supreme Court judges, or there's several black people to do certain things. So,
I get you. Well, with that being said, that is our Black History Fact for this week, and now it is time for TJ to provide me with the word of the week.
I like stump you better, but...
okay. He wants to try and stump me.
There you go. Thank you. So my word of the week is ameliorate. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly.
Ameliorate.
I did. Ameliorate. Make something bad or unsatisfactory better. So my sentence would be, I hope the presidency change will ameliorate our experience. Excuse me.
Ameliorate our experience. Can I hear Tabitha say that again? Actually, not Tabitha. My cousin's name is Tabitha. Let me hear, let's see, Becca.
Becca?
Yeah.
Ameliorate.
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 Ameliorate. Okay. AMELIORATE. Ameliorate. That must be wrong.
You got it right.
Oh, I did?
It's fucking bullshit. Yes, you got it right. AMELIORATE. Congratulations.
Do my little shimmy, my word.
You can't
shimmy,
have the shimmy because you weren't sure. You were not confident. So
okay.
So continue being.
So I can do a little celebratory dance if I want to, if I get it right.
You should be like shocked. You should have like.
You can't
grace.
tell me how.
You should have grace because you didn't know it. You weren't confident in yourself.
It doesn't matter. I can still celebrate even if I wasn't super confident in my response if I got it right.
I mean, that's phony, but all right.
It's not phony. You
Yes,
can't tell me how to win.
You right. You got
Just
it.
because I'm not a shit talker.
You got it.
Like some people I know. Ameliorate these nuts.
Watch your mouth. Anyway.
All right. So now we are going to transition to our quarrel for this episode. Not putting it at the front of the episode because it didn't happen at the beginning of the episode like last week. That was kind of a fluke, but it was a good one. And this week we're going to talk about a little bit more, I guess a little closer to home, and definitely relationships oriented. And that has to do with, that's my drum roll, spending and money habits in relationships. Dun, dun, dun.
You're so corny.
Would
you like me to fill up your beverage?
Well,
you can still talk while I go fill up the beverage. Just a yes or no question. If you say no, then I'll just fill up my own beverage and then you can continue talking.
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, since it's just me and y'all right now, I wanted to talk, or we wanted to talk this week about spending money and spending and money habits in relationships, right? Because most relationships, especially like long-term ones, marriages, end poorly or end period. And one of the top reasons in at least in the country for sure is finances, money problems, whatever you want to call it, end up being the source of the strife. And TJ and I kind of had our own conversation about that because a couple weeks ago we had like a little bit of a spat because he called me wasteful, and some of it had to do with, it was either like directly or indirectly had to do with money. So I guess I kind of want to talk to TJ and get you guys to chime in with us when you see our posts or when you come on Instagram live with us on Tuesdays at 7:30. That just kind of get your take on this, right? So I've heard, conversations around couples and like how they split like household bills, right? That's one point of contention. That's not one that particularly TJ and I struggle with, but
Facts.
We know others that do.
Because you already knew what it was.
Shut up. Ain't nobody taking you seriously.
I ain't play no games. 50-50. Split that thing right down the middle.
There's the other concept of joint accounts.
Dope.
And then there's also...
Do we have a joint account? I feel like we have...
I think the accounts were like...
We do have some joint accounts, but that's not like
the
our
Chase
basis.
Account is like... That's like shared pots of money, I feel like.
Okay.
But we did have a joint savings account when we were getting married.
I still have that. We still use that account. So you don't even know.
Because most of our money is separate.
Exactly. Because we're individuals.
And then the last thing I was thinking about was also like the spending habits of your partners. Like, should your partner have a say in how you spend your money?
No.
And what do we do when we take issue with their spending choices? So
I mean, for real, if you got a problem with how I spend my money, let's put the gloves on and we can get this thing popping.
Anyway, so as far as covering household,
we're gonna go with first.
Well, I just start with this one, like covering household bills. I mean, what me and you do is it's pretty much a split. So it's not we split
the mortgage.
We split the mortgage 50-50, and then everything else is kind of like.
You get a bill, I
get a bill. Yeah. So the only bill we split like down the middle is the mortgage. And then it becomes a thing of like, okay, TJ takes the internet, and like
and the TV.
And the TV, like our streaming services. And then I have like
we have our car insurance.
I have the BG and I have the car insurance. And so is that it? Those are like the big ones, right?
For the most part.
So,
we have some credit card payments and stuff.
Yeah. So that, like, it works for us. And I think that is what it comes down to. It's like we have to do what works for you.
100%. Well, listen, I'm a big believer that it needs to work. I don't believe that because you're a man that you have to pay 100% of the mortgage or rent or whatever. Maybe back in the old days when the husband was the only person working, that made sense. But if, we're going to be equals and when we want to be treated fairly, then we're going to fairly treat these bills.
Okay. Related but unrelated, but then we should also fairly divide these household chores too.
Well, you're saying it.
I'm not saying it just like that you don't do it, but I'm just saying like I'm putting it out there.
If that works for that couple, 100%. But it's not like we have chores or stuff that we do in the house that you do more of, or, in my opinion, I can be wrong.
You're a little wrong, but
okay.
It's
you may do it faster than I do it, but. That doesn't necessarily mean...
I think that sometimes...
We've never had to sit down and we said, listen, on Saturday mornings we're going to get up and these are your chores, these are mine. We've never had that.
Do you think that, I mean, I think that might be something worth considering. I'm not trying to point fingers and just be like, oh, it's all you and you don't do anything, whatever. We haven't had that explicit conversation. I know that I tend to be, when it comes to things like around the house, I tend to be a little bit more like, let's get up and go and I'll get it done.
You might be.
But you have other
I do it based off of bandwidth. And sometimes I may be like, I can get these clothes on the weekend because this is not, to me, it's not that pressing. So again, it'll be different if we had a conversation and was like, I'm gonna do these chores, you do these chores, and then I wasn't pulling my weight. But we've never had that conversation, so I don't think that's fair. But
I wasn't saying it to try and like put you on the spot. I'm saying though, is just that like
you do. Sometimes you try to, you got to make sure that you look good. So
what I'm trying to say though is just that like,
be accountable.
What I'm trying to say is that you were saying like, oh, we want to be equal, we're going to split these bills equally, but it's also like, okay, we want to be equal, but we got to split the household equally too. Like that's just like a general thing.
I mean, listen, if we're going to split everything, that means cooking as well.
Or it can be one person handles the cooking and one person handles all the cleaning. That's because it's that's
how we talked about it in the past. But then you just try to make it seem like
I didn't try to make it. That's
how I took it.
Well, I'm not trying to make it seem like I do everything. I do more, I would say.
I would agree. You probably definitely. Not even probably. You definitely do more. But it also, is it a choice that you decide to do more, or is it like, I'm forcing you to? Because again, perception is reality. And again, if you decide to do something first, you didn't give me an opportunity to be able to do it. So
I just don't think.
And we never had the conversation.
We should have the conversation. I think that it's not that I didn't give you the opportunity to do stuff. I just think that there are things that just don't occur to you that have to be done.
Like what?
Like, I guess like the time, and I'll say this, it doesn't occur to you, or it doesn't occur to you that it should be done on like a more regular basis. So like, I think like the dishes, right? Like I think it's a simple thing of like, we put the stuff in the dishwasher and then we do it, we unload it, and that way we don't have to worry about dishes piling up. I think that like, and not to say I've never let dishes pile up. It happens all the time. It's happened plenty of times in our history, but it's a thing of like, instead of waiting for it to become to the point that we don't have a clean dish in the house, we just like load up the dishwasher as we go, and then once it gets like to a full load, we do that, and then we come back to it. I think that it doesn't like occur to you, or it may not occur to you to be like, to like,
not always. No,
it may not occur to you to like,
sometimes I'm just going. So yeah,
like let's put the trash.
I'm gonna put this dish here now, and then I'll come back later. But I can work on it.
Yeah, and so it's like little stuff. It's just like stuff that just may not like occur to you, and
That's fair.
And
what's the next one?
Joint accounts.
Fuck no.
So I think joint accounts are okay if
you're like saving towards something,
and if you guys are in agreement, if you both know that like you're financially responsible. Because the thing about it too is like, if you have a person in your life who you love down and they're the most amazing person you've ever met in your life, but they are terrible with money, having a joint account may not be in your best interest, because ultimately, like, a person, they are who they are, and changing financial bad spending habits or bad saving habits, whatever, is something that takes time. So it's like, it may not make sense to put all your money in one account, and then you're thinking this is going towards household bills and expenses, and then that person takes it and they went on a shopping spree. So that's another conversation. I don't think people should be offended if they don't want to have a joint account with you.
No, I don't think that because you're in a relationship you have to have a joint account. I think if it works for you, then great. But I also think you got to be mindful of that. I also think that it's okay to have separation. Like, just because we're a couple doesn't mean that we have to do things together. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't mean you don't have to have a joint bank account.
Yeah.
I don't have to know how much you make or anything. I mean, I know how much you make, but I'm just saying, a lot of times I don't know what you do with your money at all. It's not a negative thing for me. As long as the bills get paid, I don't give a fuck what you do. It's your bread. So, personally.
Yeah. And I think it's a thing of like, I don't really like, I mean, for the most part, I know where like your extra money goes to, like once the bills are paid or whatever. But it's a thing of like, again, if the bills are paid, if we're not complaining about being broke, if we're, all of our needs are met and then some, if we're able to make sure that we're staying afloat, then if you spend money on sneakers or you spend money on like a new shirt or something like that, then that's that's your prerogative, and
vice versa.
And so I think that
I don't check your what's the names. I mean, the only time I've ever had an issue if it was like a bill was missed or something like that, which doesn't happen often for us. Or I mean, again, even with me, like I've set up auto pays that didn't come out, and now I'm like, fuck, because my pet peeve is having to pay
late fees. Yeah, I know you.
Any type of fucking fees, extra money, frustrating. So I get that, but yeah,
I think like I do think in the past, like once upon a time, and maybe it was because sometimes like we made obviously less money, but sometimes you'd be like, where's your money going, or why don't you have any money, and this, that, and the other. And I think that part used to frustrate me sometimes, because I would be like, and sometimes it would be, once upon a time, it was probably like a lot of eating out. But then
I also just think because of, again, I think sometimes you are wasteful, so that's kind of where my question.
So then we can get into that. So that was something that came up recently, and you described me as wasteful with my money. Why? Or can you elaborate in your own words?
Because I feel like for you, it's just like, if you give Tatum cereal, she don't eat it all, you're going to throw it away. And for me, it's just like, she didn't eat it all. First off, she don't have no milk in it, so why are we throwing this away? Let's repurpose this and she can eat this shit later, because she's an after cereal again. But for you, it's easier if you just throw it all away, as opposed to you having to put it into a baggie for later. And I think to me, it's just like, we grew up like you just didn't waste food. Like,
so you feel like I waste food, but what about like because I feel like you were talking about like money and like spending too. I think you're talking about how like certain like convenience.
I brought that up in the sense that if there's something in the house, you would throw that away and then repurchase it. And it's just like, why repurchase it? And you've always said like, well, I repurchased it 6 months from now, then it was worth it because I didn't need it for 6 months. And my thing is like, but if there's a inkling that you're going to use it again, why throw it away? Why not just find a place for it?
There may not be an inkling. So I say this. So this is what happened that day. So on this day, it was New Year's Eve actually. And so New Year's Eve, I had to go to the doctor. Went to the doctor's appointment, went to the chiropractor. Then I was going to pick up some champagne because it was New Year's. I stopped at the liquor store that was next to the chiropractor's office.
That is where it was. Yep, you're right.
And so
I remember this.
I was only going to buy champagne, but TJ, because I don't really drink like hard liquor anymore. So TJ, his dark is Honey Jack, his light is Tito's. So I called him. I'm like, hey, do you need any more of either? And you were like, well, maybe get a Honey Jack, excuse me. And you were like,
and you was like, it was like $40.
You said it should be like $35, and I was like, no, it's like 40, 41 here, whatever. And then he was like,
fuck no.
So then he was like, why would you just
go to any liquor store?
Liquor store. And I had to say, well, it was next door to where I was, so that's why it was a thing of like, I'm right here, so I would get it. And as someone who does not normally buy the liquor for the household, I wasn't I thought that was like a ballpark of around what it should cost. No. So then that happened. Then it was like a series of events. Then it was some point was the cereal thing, because Tatum's cereal had left cereal out and I dumped the bowl of cereal.
So let me explain that. And so Tatum has this tendency now that she only wants to eat this cereal with no milk.
She's like a cup of milk on the side, but she likes the cereal dry.
Fucking weirdo.
She's not a weirdo.
That's what happens when you have a single child. You're creating them to become fucking weirdos. So she wants Muriel. She wants cereal and milk separate. So, and honestly, she only wants the fucking chocolate. But whatever, Danielle and myself, we always give in. So here you go. But there's a whole bunch of fucking cereal left, and Danielle just throws it all away. And I'm just like, sis, like, she didn't eat all that shit. Like, if she's going to ask for this every single day, why wouldn't you just put it in a baggie, and then when she asks for it tomorrow, The baggie's right there. So to me, that's wasteful. Go ahead.
Okay. And then there was one other thing that happened. It was the cereal, it was the liquor store run, and then it was something else. Do you remember? It was definitely 3 things. So
I mean, I could definitely see me saying in the liquor store.
And so it was the liquor store, it was
I can understand paying the extra money, but I'm kind of that cheap.
In the moment you were like
$6?
Yeah. In the moment you were like, why wouldn't you go to the one to the house and they're closer to the house? Why don't you just send the other? And that's just wasteful. So then it became a thing of like, you're just wasteful. And I'm like, and then, you know, TJ gave an example of like, he was like, if store A and store B have the same product and store A has it for $200 and store B has $150 and they're only 10 feet apart, like you're going to still pay to not have to walk 10 feet. And which was an exaggeration.
I mean, you call exaggeration, but I can definitely see you doing that.
So what I will say is this, is that
real quick, would you do that?
10 feet, no. But if
it's literally 10 feet, but you're already there, you have everything, and someone called me and was like, hey, Dani, it's in store B for $10 cheap. I mean, for whatever the price difference.
$10 cheaper, maybe not. $100 cheaper, yes.
Let me tell you, it could be a fucking penny difference.
But that's why I'm going, like when it comes to certain things, like I'm willing to spend more money in order to save time or energy or bandwidth or whatever. And I think some of that has to do kind of ties back to like even the like division of labor in the household, right? Because we both agree I do more of the household responsibilities, or I do them more timely or faster, whatever, whichever way you want to look at it. So in turn, like
you're willing to pay for
I'm willing to pay a little bit extra for like Instacart to bring the groceries to the house.
That's different.
But if I'm doing whatever, if I'm out and I'm right next to, and it's also too, it's like it's not like a habitual thing, it's a one-off thing. Sometimes when like with the chiropractor with the liquor store next door, I wouldn't normally go to a liquor store anyway after my doctor's appointment.
Okay, I get that. So my thing is that if maybe because I purchase liquor, I do purchase it more. So because I do purchase it more, I'm looking at prices.
Yeah, and so
if I know this store has it cheaper, I might as well go to that store. I won't even check another store because I know this place has it cheaper.
Yeah, but you have that information.
Or what I would do is go check the other stores and see, are the prices similar? If it's $1 difference, it's $1 difference. Once you get like $3 difference, I need those extra $3.
I'm just like, and depending on, first of all, I hate shopping altogether.
You do.
It doesn't matter if it's for liquor or if it's for an outfit. If I have to leave my house, like if I have to leave my house in order to buy it, my patience is my threshold for like the experience is very low. So that's one thing. That's why I don't like going shopping with you, because I end up being like, as far as like gender stereotypes and norms or whatever, I'm the one holding my own purse, sitting there waiting for TJ because he want to go over here, then he want to check there, then he wants to comparison shop.
Who doesn't like shopping? Like, who doesn't like to be able to like see how an outfit fits? See, like. But
that's what it matters to you. That's what it's important to you. It's not important to me in the sense that
I get it. I'm not
like. And I can online shop. I'll comparison shop online.
Okay.
But I can't do it in person because it literally like I feel like I could be doing this at home, or I'd rather be doing something else. It's not super fun for me.
You never picked up a fire outfit and was like, I can't wait to kill this?
I felt that way about things I bought online more.
I also think that there's a subconscious because you were bigger, so like shopping for you wouldn't have been fun because you couldn't buy stuff.
I mean, I'm sure that's played a part in it, but I'm sure that's played a role in it, but it's also, but even now at a smaller, like, it feels like a hassle. Like, I gotta take my clothes off. I gotta put my clothes back on. I gotta try this on. I gotta wait in line. I gotta deal with other people.
Not everything
I gotta
fits
see.
right,
I gotta get a large and an extra large to see which one fits best, because I never know with my chest or my legs or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like that shit that's exhausting. I'm tired.
When you say it that way,
about it.
When you say it that way, it does make it
sounds like a fucking drag,
exhausting.
and that's how it feels.
What?
Like, I don't go in the mirror and be like, ooh, yeah, this looks good. Nah. That's you. And that's wonderful. But that's just not me.
Let's put this shit on. Let's make sure this outfit looks fire.
But
make sure it sits for, especially now with the weight loss. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but
I'm used to getting bigger, so like now I'm testing it, and I gotta figure out what size fits perfectly. Like, do I wear the large or do I go with the extra large? Extra large is more comfortable because that's what I'm used to, but it may fit looking baggy. Like, all that shit matters.
Of course, and I think that the thing is, like, it was something you already enjoyed, so now you can even enjoy it even more. It was something I never enjoyed, so while it's a little bit easier for me now, it's still not something that's fun. But
because you're from Queens, that's why.
First of all, stop disrespecting Queens.
That's why. It makes sense.
Don't get smacked.
By who?
Me. I will, on camera, if you look at the camera, I will come across his desk and smack the shit out of him.
You definitely wouldn't.
I mean, I've done it before. So,
okay. Anyway.
Not condoning domestic violence, but you know.
You're from Queens. It makes sense.
And yeah, if you're from Harlem, it makes sense.
What does that mean?
I mean, if I'm...
You're gaslighting right now, so I'm not worried about it.
I am. That's what it looks like.
At least I don't purposely gaslight. You purposely gaslight. Continue.
Which one's worse?
The person who purposely does it.
Than the person who it's so ingrained in their DNA they don't even realize they're doing it?
I mean, you call it that, but anyway.
Okay. But I think
What's the next
no,
question,
because it's like, it's talking
whatever.
about like, what should we do when we take issue with the spending choices? So that's my thing, was like, you had an issue with like how I spend my money, and you feel like, oh, you will like spend money on this or on that, but then at the same time,
what I have to learn is...
You interrupted me.
I did. Fuck rock. What I have to understand is that I can't have an opinion based off what you do for yourself.
I agree, because...
That's it.
And it's like, because even like,
See
I mean...
that was?
Growth on your part?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm realizing that I can... I mean, again, we are entitled to our opinions, but I have to understand that I can't have an opinion based off of what you want to do, even if I think it's the stupidest shit in the world.
Because I mean, I took issue for a very long time with like the amount of shopping that you do, and like when you always have
my
stuff.
Bills paid on time.
Yes, which is why I didn't give you as hard of a time.
Doesn't mean you weren't judging me.
More than anything, I was annoyed because it was like you didn't, like, there were just boxes everywhere. You always, like, there was no like turnover of like you getting the things out of the house as fast as they came into the house.
I guess.
So that was my biggest issue. So I think more than even like the money part of it, it was like the physical side of it. And then you telling me like, when you have these moments where you try to tell me how I spend, it's like you said, if all the bills are paid, if Tatum is good, if I'm good, if you're good, then what I spend my money on, excuse me, if what I'm spending,
helping you out, the fuck.
So if what I'm spending my money on is not impacting our household, then it should be okay. And yeah, I am a person who pay for convenience. I will have people come, and I'm not saying that you poo-poo this or whatever, at least not now. You did initially when we did it at the old house, which was having cleaners, people come in and clean the house. You were like, why can't we do it ourselves? We obviously can't do it ourselves because we hadn't done it ourselves.
I've already said
and then
on tape previously that I'm going to allow you to do what you do.
It is.
You've batted 100 when it comes to shit. So I need to stop. I need to take myself away from it and just kind of allow you to do what you're going to do.
Yeah. Because, like, yeah.
A lot of times you've been right. Again, it's just my personal get-ups. But I'm learning, so. Yeah.
Because, because what it made me feel like, as recently as, like, New Year's Eve and more so in the past, what made me feel like was, like, if it feels like I'm being told what to do with my money, or I'm being judged what I do with my money, which, when it comes down to it, like, and it would be both ways, which is like, it is your money. It is my money. Like, so, and again, if it's short of us, like, not having enough money to pay bills, then I shouldn't have a say or really have a commentary on what you decide to use your extra funds with. And it's a thing of, like, it just feels very, like, parental. It feels like you're keeping tabs. It feels like you're like you're questioning my ability to manage my money. No, and that was what pissed me off.
I don't think I'm necessarily questioning it, but I feel like because of who you are, you're going to pay it regardless. So, yeah, you have it. But, again, if you're going to pay $100 over, you'll pay that for the convenience. And my thing is, like, did you look for other alternatives? Did you do the stuff to make sure that you were getting the best price? A lot of times you're not. Again, you may find something right now that you like and you're going to buy it just because it's that. Whereas my mindset is like, okay, I found it on Walmart, but let me see if Wayfair have it. Let me see if Amazon have it. Let me see what everyone has and what's the best price.
So I think what it comes down to is like, I could take a page from your book and be a little bit more committed to like comparison shopping. But what I can't do is sometimes where I see where you go, which is like you have 16 tabs open and you are like going back and forth and hemming and hawing about what it is that you want to get, and then you end up like,
I want to make sure I'm paying the best,
and I don't have the patience for that. And it's like, price. And it's just like, sometimes I.
That's where we will always differ.
And sometimes I can do a better job of comparison shopping, and sometimes I'm paying for like what I am paying for literally is the convenience.
I get
and that's
that.
Just like, and that's
listen.
Like, period. Like,
there's a threshold of convenience that people will pay for, right? When I was younger, I would never pay a $6 soda. But if I was really thirsty, and that's what it is, I'm gonna pay it because I'm really thirsty, and that's the only option. But I also feel like there are times where you could be a better, like, let me check all the prices, let me check everything, and it's just like, I always make the joke like it's kind of like you are a salesperson's dream because you're gonna buy it regardless. Like you're gonna buy, like I can tell you it's $2.99. And I can get it down to $1.99, but you're gonna pay the $2.99 just because. Like I don't have to go. Like people don't have to go extra with you because you're gonna pay whatever the price is, regardless.
And I think that to an extent that there's definitely truth to that. And I think that like you're like, I guess if it's a similar like analogy, like you're a salesperson's nightmare because
yes, I'm definitely. I'm gonna ask every question. I'm gonna ask what the discount is. What's the open box version?
But the issue becomes,
what can we do?
But the issue becomes is like you can have somebody who will give you everything that you're asking for, and you still won't commit, and you'll still be like, I don't know,
Not
I'm gonna
always.
come. Your indecision.
If I really want it, then I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, because things that you really, really want, then it's like, oh,
not always. No, even the shit that I really, really want. The only thing that I pay full price for is sneakers. That's it.
So you have your thing that you're like, okay,
no, I get it.
I'm not going to question
I
it.
have to pay it my full price because if I don't, it's gonna be a little fucking troll out there who's gonna buy my size and then try to sell me my size at double, triple, quadruple the price. So that's the only thing that I don't have leeway to be able to like
haggle.
I'm not gonna call it haggling. Like, let's have a conversation about this.
Haggle. You want to haggle, and you want to
listen. This
and
thing
you
is,
and you do
this
it,
is 2
and
years
it's sometimes
old, bro. What
and
up?
it's sometimes it works in our favor. I think that like again, me and you are on different ends of the spectrum with it, but we both would benefit from taking a page from the other person's book because I sometimes need to haggle more, and sometimes you need to haggle less. Because
you should always haggle. Like rule of thumb, you should always get 3. Always
getting 3 price points for something you're looking for and haggling are 2 different things.
Okay.
I can agree with you that the price points.
You should.
I may not always want. I'm not always.
You should always price match. You should always find at least 3 different, and then if you find out that it's the same price on all 3 spots, then it is what it is. You can go with what you prefer, but you should always try to find the best price. Period.
You should always.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
You should try to find the best price.
Just because you have the money to pay for it, that's beautiful. But if you can get it for cheaper, why not get it for cheaper? So, if I can get something that's $500 for $250, why not get it for $250 and now I have an additional $250 that I can go spend for something else?
So it depends on a couple of things, right?
Okay.
If there's first might be time, right? If I'm paying for, it could be time, it could be quality, right? It could be a thing of, I need this by the 22nd.
I have to take my step back, right?
Yeah.
What I'm learning is that what I want for TJ may not be what Danielle wants for Danielle.
Yeah.
And that's fair.
And that is... and
it's hard for me, though, because it's just like, listen...
And I think the thing is
I know it's best for you sometimes, but... That's fair.
You think you do, yeah.
I do think I do sometimes. A lot of times. I mean, like, again, I'm willing to, again, if it's $5, I'm going to say $5. I'm okay with that.
That is okay.
For you, you're not.
Yeah,
you're willing to throw that money. And that's just the difference. It's not a bad thing. It's not a positive thing.
It's a matter of, I think the hard thing is when it is something that is pertinent to our household, and then you and I have to come together, because it's a little bit easier when it's me buying something for me and you buying something for you.
Facts.
But then it's like, if it's something that's happening in the house or with Tatum, then it becomes like, now we gotta like talk about it, and that's where we have to have that conversation.
Listen, I'm just going by how America is. At the end of the day, you gotta find the best price that you can get. And again, if it's $5, again, $5 add up. So if it's 10 purchases, and you could say $5 on all those 10 purchases, $50. It's $50 that can go towards something else. That could be a gift for your friend, for a family member. That could be a donation. So yes, I think that as people, we need to be able to make strategic payments.
And to that point, to counter that point, also, because that is true, but also, if the $5 extra means I don't have to leave my house, or I don't have to do something. If it saves me time, energy, or one of the ways, time or energy.
What if it took you 10 extra minutes?
Let me finish. Then it might be worth it for me, because then that means I get that back so I can do something else.
So what if it took you 10 extra minutes to find this $5 off or $15 off? Is it worth taking that extra 10 minutes to finding that off? Or is it better just to get what you want done?
It's going to depend on where my head is at the moment.
Okay.
Because if I'm in a rush, if I have the time, if
you're in a rush, you shouldn't be purchasing anything. You shouldn't make any purchases.
But we all have situations where we have to buy something in a hurry.
What I'm trying to say is that might happen, but it shouldn't. You shouldn't buy something under duress.
We shouldn't, but we do. That's a reality. Okay. Like, it's like, oh shit, I forgot this. I need this quick or whatever. This one's $25 and it'll be here.
I'm the type that
tomorrow.
I
and
can
this
buy.
One's $20.
I can buy it from here for $25.
You're cutting me off. You gonna say fuck rock again?
Fuck rock.
Yeah, yo, disrespectful.
I can buy it for $25 here, and then I can find out it's $20 somewhere else. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy it from that place for $20, and I'm gonna go return that.
And I don't have, and I'm not. And
you're not. I get you. Ever. That's just where we differ.
It is, because that shit makes me sleepy thinking about you doing that, because that means I gotta that's shipping.
For $5, I'm willing to do it.
It's postage. It's post office.
It's not postage you gotta pay. All you gotta literally do is click on the website, say return.
Oh, if it's Amazon, yeah.
If it's Amazon, Target, if it's Walmart, if it's whomever, I'm just saying. For $5, I will. And for other people, it might not be.
$5 or more, or $5 or less.
Danielle, it could be 25 cents.
It is not 25 cents. You're dragging it now.
I am dragging it. And you missed that.
I didn't miss it. It popped out.
If you shoot a shot and it goes in and come out, you missed the shot.
But don't acknowledge that it went in, but it came out.
Let's acknowledge the fact that it went inside the trash and it came right out. She's not a shooter like I am. She's not a shooter like I am.
I'm not a lot of things like you are.
You're not a shooter like I am. You're right.
And I'm okay with that.
MVP.
I think we're good. You know, let's just...
You're a hater. Don't be a hater your whole life.
I'm not a hater.
What else is there? Is there anything else?
That was it. We're talking about like our spending choices and stuff. And like, I think like...
What I'm going to say to y'all in relationships and couples, figure out what's best for y'all. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, that's where I'm going to come with.
And don't have the expectation that one person is supposed to be responsible for any
bills
total thing
or
ever.
Cleaning or whatever. Like, listen, as couples, we got to have the conversations. As friends, couples, whatever you
roommates,
call it.
Yep.
You got to have the conversation. Sometimes it's uncomfortable and you don't hurt people's feelings, but it's better to know exactly where y'all stand as opposed to assuming things. And a lot of times in relationships, friendships, whatever you call it, we assume things. That's my man. That's my girl. They're going to do it because of whatever. But no, just we can't assume that people are going to do stuff based off of what we think they'll do. So that's where I'm going to leave it off at. At the end of the day, figure it out. And my continuous change is just making sure that I use my words wisely and making sure that I'm using the right words. Because again, sometimes I may say something or do something and I'm thinking A, but it shows B, and now I'm looking like crazy because my intention was this, but my outcome was that. So that's going to be my biggest thing that I'm going to say. Just, have the but ultimately have the conversations. Because again, for me and Dani, us having a shared bank account was something that we needed to do. We did it for when we were planning for our marriage. Yeah. And we're planning on other stuff. We do it just so we can make sure that we have a central location of where the funds go. But for the most part,
what's the mortgage, mine. What's yours is
Dani pays the mortgage. I send her the bread for this house. The old house, I pay the mortgage. Mm-hmm. So she sent me the bread. But you got to find what's best for you. And just remember, that's what's best for you. Fuck the outside noise. Fuck what other people think. Because there's always going to be people who's going to have opinions. That shit don't always mean anything. A lot of times it don't mean anything. Because what works for you and your partner may not work for someone else and their partner. But don't allow what works for them to affect how you think. Or move.
It's always about communication. It's always about what works best for you and the person that you're splitting bills with or whatever. And I think the thing too is like, even though me and TJ, we squabbled, I guess we didn't really quarrel as hard this time. And it doesn't always mean that we have to argue. But it's like, come to the table when you're not clear or you're uncomfortable or whatever the person is doing that it gives you pause. Like, come with an open mind. Like, ask a question, but don't be like accusatory. Don't be like judgmental about it, because one thing that TJ did was like, even though he gets it now and he understands now and he's grown now, whatever, sometimes his approach when he first took issue or had questions about it would always be very like, what are you doing, or you need to do better, and then that's the part that always would lead to like the static, because it's like, if you genuinely just kind of wanted to know, well, what's your train of thought, like what's your line of thinking? So my approach
is wrong. I'll take that.
And I mean,
I'll take that.
And so that's the thing.
I'm not perfect, so
nobody is.
A lot of times my approach is trash. A lot of times my delivery is trash. So.
A lot of times.
Well, listen. I just found another woman who can handle it. The fuck? Fire.
I am she is me.
I mean, I don't know.
And even then,
sometimes you be acting like you're not tough enough. So.
I'm always tough, but I'm sometimes tired. That's all.
Excuses.
It's not excuses. Sometimes you are. I love you with every fiber of my being, but baby, you can be exhausting sometimes.
And you can be exhausting too. That's crazy. Be accountable, sis.
Okay, we can take it to the streets about who's more exhausting on our fireside chat on Tuesdays at 7:30.
We can figure it out. Tuesday at 7:30. The fuck?
Okay. Well, listen, folks, we're gonna wrap this sucker up. This has been yet another episode of Lovers Quarrel. You know that you can find us on all the social medias, or most of them, like Instagram.
Oh, shit.
At Lovers Quarrel Show. On Twitter at Lovers Quarrel 7. Yeah. If you want to email us your thoughts, your questions, or concerns, you know to find us at loversquarrelshow@gmail.com. Excuse me.
Hey, excuse you.
I hate you.
Excuse you again. One more time. Come on. You got the vid?
No.
All right, just gotta ask.
Anyway, but point being is you're
really pretty.
Thank you. You're very handsome.
Nah, I'm trash. Real ab-dab.
Okay. So, saying that all to say, we're going to be live again on Tuesday at 7:30. We had a really great and discussion last week with our last episode. Just, join us there. Full transparency, we will probably have Tatum again. It won't be as chaotic. We won't have as many people in the house that night, Tuesday night, as we did last week. But it was still great, and we really like doing this. We like engaging with y'all. It's fun, and it's a great opportunity to hear what other people have to say. And for those of you who are listening, remind me so that way that we could take a little initial poll in the when everyone is really in there in the mix about who's more exhausting. just, based off of your own insights and experiences with the podcast or knowing us personally, who do you think is more exhausting to the other person? TJ to Dani or Dani to TJ?
Well, people are going to say you because people are sexist and...
They're not sexist. They hate you.
Everyone is
you
team,
get on here every week and
everyone is team woman, so no matter what.
No, you let your mouth do, and your thoughts and your opinions, they do well enough on their own. I could probably sit here and say nothing and still come out looking all right.
Listen, at the end of the day, we appreciate y'all.
We do.
That's all I'm going to say.
And so with that being said, thank you for tuning into another episode of Lovers Quarrel. As always, I am your girl, Dani.
And I'm your guy, TJ.
And you know that we fuss.
We fight.
But we love.
Bye. Bucket ass.
Stupid ass.
Fuck out of here.
Irky ass.
Old dumb ass.
Exhausting ass.
Old dummy ass.
Old fucking whack ass.
Fire your ass up ass.
Spending all that money ass.
Fuck out of here. Wasteful ass.
Whatever.
Old buckethead ass.
Stupid. Hate you.
The best thing that ever happened to you. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.